COP30 has arrived at a complicated moment for global climate politics. Leaders are celebrating major achievements, yet science continues to warn that we are far from safe. The UN climate chief says COP30 delivered real-world progress, including huge investments in clean energy and a global push to expand sustainable fuels. But the world is still on track for around 2.5 to 2.9 degrees of warming this century. That is far beyond the Paris temperature limit. For countries already suffering from extreme heat, floods and stronger storms, the question is simple: does COP30 move fast enough to matter? One of the clearest outcomes is the Tropical Forests Forever facility. It is a massive new fund that aims to protect the Amazon, the Congo Basin and forests across Southeast Asia. At COP30, more than $5.5 billion in pledges were announced and over 50 countries signed on. If the fund grows to its target of $125 billion, it could reward countries that keep deforestation low. A portion of the money will support indigenous peoples and local communities who are already protecting these forests. Deforestation in the Amazon has slowed this year, but scientists warn that forest degradation from fires and logging is still rising. The new facility could help stabilize these forests for decades and strengthen global climate efforts. Beyond forests, COP30 also highlighted food and farming systems. Under the Action Agenda on Regenerative Landscapes, more than $9 billion in commitments were made to support regenerative agriculture. These programs could reach over 200 million hectares and millions of farmers. Brazil also launched an initiative to restore degraded farmland and align financing for climate-smart agriculture. If successful, these efforts could protect water, stabilize food systems, and support rural livelihoods. But these promises sit outside the binding negotiation tracks. Their success depends entirely on national policies and political will. Energy was the most debated issue at COP30 and also the most disappointing. The final agreement never named fossil fuels, even though more than 80 countries wanted a clear global pathway to phase them out. Instead, the COP president announced he will release his own non-binding roadmap. It carries political weight, but has no legal force. This is far from what science demands. The International Energy Agency says keeping the 1.5-degree goal alive means cutting fossil fuel demand sharply this decade and ending new oil, gas, and coal expansion. Without a shared global roadmap, the world is left with voluntary actions and national policies. On climate finance, COP30 focused heavily on funding. Countries agreed to mobilize at least $1.3 trillion a year by 2030. Rich nations were urged to triple support for adaptation by 2035. But the gap remains huge. Developing countries already need more than $200 billion each year for adaptation alone. Even with new pledges, climate-vulnerable nations will still struggle to keep up with rising climate impacts. COP30 also advanced carbon market rules. Countries agreed to close the old crediting system and move toward the new Article 6.4 mechanism. A new coalition was launched to align carbon pricing systems and improve transparency. If this coalition works, it could help scale up financing for clean energy and forest protection. One meaningful shift this year is the elevation of health as a climate priority. The Belém Health Action Plan was launched to help countries strengthen health systems as climate impacts worsen. A new coalition also pledged funding for climate and health research and early warning systems. Nearly half the world already lives in climate-vulnerable conditions. The WHO warns that many hospitals are at risk of climate-related shutdowns. Putting health at the center of climate policy is long overdue. In the end, COP30 delivered progress in forests, agriculture, health, and finance. But it avoided the most important issue. Without a global commitment to phase out fossil fuels, climate change will keep accelerating. This makes every other solution harder and more expensive. The real test begins now. Countries must turn these partial gains into actual policies and projects, and they need to re-examine their energy systems and cut emissions even without a binding global deal. The world still has a chance to steer toward a safer future, but only if action moves faster than the crisis itself.